they're an expensive team that's just old. Like I feel like they lost their identity a while back. Like you remember the fear of the Bucks, that identity. Nobody fears the Bucks.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, I have them as one of the underrated, slept-on contenders this year. Because at the end of
You-
the day, they made some good signings, man. I'm not gonna lie. They had a decent off season. There was a couple teams that kind of went under the radar, and they had decent off seasons.
I mean, who are you really like? Who are you impressed by? Gary Trent Jr. He's kind of a gamble signing. Torian Prince is gonna play a role that he's familiar with, so I think he'll have a better season. But other than that, I don't know. I'm not really sold on the Bucks.
Yeah. Oh, they actually lost Giannis. Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, they signed. They lost AJ Johnson too. Um, yeah, they got Torini and Prince. They didn't have any money, but the Gary Trent Jr. is a signing that really surprised everyone. He took
Yeah,
less
because
money
his
to be
value is
with
like
them.
his value has dropped like crazy, right?
Hmm.
So that's what my thing is like, dog. They're just taking gambles, and if they pay off, good for the Bucks. But dude, it's like I don't know for a contender with a lot less money, and I don't even know if you could call the Bucks contenders.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
just
They're
like
old. They're very old. They lost. I didn't even know they had Gallinari on the team. They lost him,
yeah,
and they lost Jay Crowder also, and they let go
Giannis
of
is a
Pat
free
Bev.
agent.
Huh?
Giannis is a free agent.
Yeah. He's not on the team anymore.
Oh wow.
And Malik Beasley, they lost him to the Pistons.
Also, did you see Charles Barkley's statement about Giannis?
Yeah, matter of fact, I had that in the notes.
Yeah,
Yo,
I'm like, you know what? Might as well make that transition.
wait. So, what's the situation with Barkley and what did he say about the
Hey, Barkley had some whack opinion calling Giannis limited, and just saying that going downhill 1 on 5 just doesn't work. I feel like it discredits Giannis Antetokounmpo's game. While he credited his personality and work ethic, but I just don't know. Like that kind of statement, I feel like is old, bro.
he said that
I think it's a lazy analysis.
him going downhill just doesn't work. Now, one thing I would say with Charles Barkley before we hit a bite, I would agree that it's gonna get harder, man, because the league right now there's just too many. There's too many good players. I don't want to say there's stars, but there's too many players off. Well, I should say the players off the bench. They're definitely more talented. Like the role man of the team, maybe the fourth scorer. Defensively, there's a lot of 3-and-D guys, man. You could take a look
Yeah,
at
100%.
even the Pelicans, the way they're designed. They got guys that are like fourth, fifth options that in other teams that other teams would die to have those guys. But let's take a look at what Charles Barkley had to say.
Giannis has to get better as a basketball player.
Well, he's
That's just
training with Drew Hanlon this year, apparently.
yeah, but that's just going downhill 1 on 5 is not going to work,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. And he's a terrific player and terrific kid, but he's got to get better as a basketball player. So no, I'm not a Milwaukee guy.
Now, Charles Barkley, he's right. And let me just say this first. The superstars of the league, like the legends like Barkley and Jordan, sometimes when they speak, they're talking about the playoffs. They're talking about the deeper rounds. So when he says going 1 on 5 downhill doesn't work, he's right. It doesn't work past the second round. Going into the
Yeah.
conference finals, going into the finals, because teams normally have 5 to 6 guys who are locked in defensively, like they're in sync. So he's right about that, but he didn't word it that way. He just made it sound like some regular season shit, but that's really what he's talking about. Conference finals, the NBA finals. He's right. It's not going to work.
Yeah, but I think Giannis, like his 2001 run, right? Especially against the Suns, he was able to dominate. But I don't think that was 1v5. I think Giannis, one thing he has is a lot of good playmaking. He can push the floor, get rebounds. Like he has a lot to his game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But come playoff time, even the whole idea of the wall, like when is the last time that honestly worked?
Yeah,
Like what?
but going back
Miami Heat?
but going back to that playoff series, that's when the league was still transitioning to what it is today. Like if you look at the talent that came in since then in every draft, there's been a bunch of 3-and-D really good guys coming in. Like there's a lot of them. It's not like a few. There's like a lot of
Yeah, I
Paul
know that.
George archetypes, not necessarily with the Paul George talent, but with the Paul George defense for sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So going up against, going into the higher rounds nowadays, you're gonna meet a team that has like 4 of those on a team, and I don't know if you can go downhill against 4 guys. Like I'm gonna use for example like the Boston Celtics. You got Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown. You got Derek White. You got Hauser that played decent defense. They got multiple guys that are defending decently, and they're all in sync. So that's really what Barkley's talking about. And then
Yeah, I
you can
feel
even
him
look at
on that.
the Minnesota Timberwolves are built the same way. They have
Yeah, I mean, just
numerous
look at the
guys that
East.
could defend.
On the East side, there's a lot of players like that too. You look at the Pacers; they have a ton of guys like that. A lot of teams have those kind of guys. But what I'm saying is, like, I don't know.
Well,
I think with Giannis, we haven't
I
seen him.
wouldn't say the Pacers. I would say the
Why
Celtics.
can't you say the Pacers?
I would
You got that.
I would say Philly does more than the
Okay, yeah,
Pacers.
Philly's fair.
Yeah, I would say the Philly, Boston, and Orlando. Yes,
What about Cleveland's double
Orlando,
big right now?
especially Orlando. Say that again.
What about Cleveland, especially with what's his name
Yeah,
again?
Cleveland,
The Evan
same thing.
Mobley, Allen. Yeah,
Yeah, if those guys get in a groove where the whole team is in sync, yeah, that's what Barkley's talking about. Going downhill against guys like that, a group, that shit is gonna be hard.
yeah. But I think also Giannis is good enough to draw in players, right? So he can create 3-point shots for other players if it goes in for them. Especially with Dame, I believe it'll make his job a lot easier.
It will, but remember they have Rivers as the coach. I wonder if his imagination, as far as coming up with offensive schemes, is gonna be suffice, man. And also,
Yeah.
is Dame ready to carry that load, man? With Giannis, Dame better be ready, man, because this is his time. He's gonna have to step it up.
Good, he has to. He's like, what, 31, 32? Like, he doesn't have long in his peak. This is his best chance to actually win a championship.
Mm-hmm. And they really got blessed with Gary Trent Jr. signing with
Yeah.
them for that minimum. That is a
100%.
blessing. Like they really lucked out with that. But they won 49 games last year. So even with the coaching changes, the kind of struggles getting the fit and sync, they kind of they still won 49 games. But it was very interesting during media day that Giannis and Dame said that they really haven't practiced together all off season. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, that to me was kind of very, very, very telling, man. Because I'm just like, hey, this is y'all time, man. It's either
But
you
why
guys are
would he
gonna
admit
go
that?
or
That's
not.
like the most that's like the most ridiculous part to me. Why would he admit that?
I don't know. Something tells me those two are not really on the same page like we thought they would be.
Yeah.
Didn't Giannis get married recently?
Nah, I don't know. Like Christian culture, I believe is like reaffirming vows. I don't know if that's a Christian culture. Or that's a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like the team was there. Giannis, Dame wasn't there. Like I don't know. It might be too much to be looking into, but it just seemed like Giannis during that All-Star game where he picked Dame first. The excitement is different nowadays. It's different when the pressure kicks in.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, bro. Because you don't have like now he's looking at it as I'm picking up more of the load, right? Defensive load.
But I'm gonna still give it up to Giannis. 'Cause I still have him as like top 3 in the league. So
Me too.
they do have baby Shaq, so it's that does play a huge difference. But the only thing is like Brook Lopez, man, it's just such a slow center playing drop back coverage. A lot of the teams in the East, they can kill you now because with Towns coming into the conference, now he has to deal with Embiid. He has to deal with a KP, Jason Tatum pick and roll, Embiid Maxey pick and roll. Now Brunson Towns pick and roll. That's a lot of coverage for the Bucks to cover. I mean, that's a lot for the Bucks to deal with when they have Damian Lillard, who has poor perimeter defense historically, and then you have Brook Lopez playing drop back center. So how is that gonna work?
But there's a lot of questions with the Bucks, right? I feel like that signing The re-signing of Brook Lopez, it was a shoot in the foot because now what? He's dealing with back spasms, right? And a big man dealing with back spasms never ends well.
Yeah, never ends well.
Never.
And just speaking of players, because of Randall's contract that have like that opt-out clause that are valuable, there's a number of guys, man, that just have a lot of decisions. We got Chris Middleton. He has a player option for $34 million. Jimmy Butler. He has a player option for $52 million. I
Yeah.
mean, do you think some of these guys are still gonna pick it up?
I mean, dude,
Wait, hold on, my bad.
Middleton.
It's also
Oh, my bad.
we got Aaron Gordon, another player who has a team option. I believe he has he has a player option, $22 million. Nas Reed, Fred VanVleet for 44, James Harden for 36, Kyrie Irving for 44. This is an interesting
Bro,
potential offseason we have right here.
Kyrie's getting extended by Dallas, bro. Depending on how this season goes, I think Nas Reed is gonna get re-signed too. He's young, a lot of upside. Rudy Gobert is weird. Like I don't know, maybe this season determines how he does in the postseason. Chris Middleton's interesting, and I also find Jimmy Butler interesting because if you're in Miami, right, and you have another mediocre season, do you really make the signing? Do you really sign Jimmy Butler to an expensive deal? He's 34 years old. He hasn't been all that healthy. He like the teams he's led have been like, you know, play-in teams. So at some point you do have to question like, is this guy our guy for the long term? If for the Miami Heat, and same with Middleton, it's like the Bucks are a lot older now. It isn't 2021. Um,
Yeah, Middleton just
Giannis,
had
yeah,
surgery, I think a couple months ago. Again.
yeah. Like, bro, what has been the most noteworthy thing Middleton has done? Really, is like that Pacers series, but even that he played barely healthy. So for me, it's like those two guys I question a lot. Like, would you just? I would just let Middleton walk if I'm the Bucks and maybe try to get another guy. Like, I think the Bucks are just kind of stuck with being a team too old. So if I was them, I'd probably just move on from Middleton.
Yeah, but the only funny thing about the money Middleton's making, it sounds like it's a lot, but with the CBA kicking in, I don't think it's really gonna hurt them as much.
No, then they probably just. I don't know. I don't see them extending him. But if he picks up his option, that's one thing.
Let's see if they do. The Bucks. Yeah, so the Bucks, if they do pick up his option, the Bucks are gonna be around the second apron. So they're still even this season, yeah, they're past the second apron just by a couple million. But damn, they're gonna start losing draft picks. Matter of fact, I just realized that they if they stay over the second apron 2 years in a row, you end up getting your first round draft pick pushed back 7 years out.